So this is coming out nicely. We've got all these various techniques to help you change the dynamics of your content, of the layout of that content. You got margins, you got page breaks, you got columns, you got section breaks, and you can use columns and section breaks together to create even more dynamic layouts in your document. Let's take a look at another technique here, and this is also one that we're going to tie back into section breaks as well. And I think you're really going to like this one. It's a kind of a lesser known feature. Not a lot of people are aware of it. But once you start to master it, you can create some very dynamic, very versatile document layouts within your Word environment. Take a look. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to undo some of the stuff I did earlier. I'm going to get rid of these section breaks. So remember, you turn on that paragraph marker, that show hide button. I'm going to get rid of the section breaks, so I'll delete that. I think I got 2 of them in here. Oh, there was the other one. Let's go delete that one as well. Alright, let's get rid of the column. So now I got 3 columns everywhere. I'm going to go back up to page layout, columns, and I'll go back to 1 column. Alright, there we go. So something else you can do with the layout of your document is change the orientation of the pages. Default, you have a portrait sheet of paper. If I zoom out here, I'll control key and use my middle mouse wheel. You see I'm in portrait mode. I've got much more space up and down, right, than I do have left and right. Well, I can change that. Perhaps I want to take that sheet of paper and I want to rotate it on its side and put it into what's called landscape mode. So I can go up to page layout, I can go over to orientation, and I'm going to change it to landscape. So now I've got much more space or a wider sheet of paper than I have up and down. Landscape mode. Just 2 options, page layout, orientation, portrait, or landscape. Now typically, most common, portrait mode. But perhaps you've got a table or an image that doesn't fit wide across the page. Or it looks better presentation wide if I were to change that sheet from portrait to landscape and fit that table on there or that image on there or whatever content it is. So I could go back to orientation, I could change it to landscape. It's great. Maybe that's what your document needs and every page needs to be that way. But it does it to every single page in the document. Right? Every page is now in landscape mode, which could be a good thing once again. But I want most of my document to be in portrait mode, and then I have those few pages that I want to flip for that image or that table or that chart, whatever it might be. But only a few pages out of a whole bunch of pages. Well, in steps, sections. Remember the section break, the next page section break. We can insert them in, and then we can manipulate just that section. Watch this. I'm going to zoom back in here. I'll use the same places. I'm going to say more options in Word. Back to page layout breaks, and I'll put in a next page section break. There we go. Now let's try something else out here. Let's put in another one here. I'm going to put one in right there. I'll go put in another next page section break. And let's see. Right before this one, I'm going to hit my enter key just to drop that down. I'm going to insert an image. So I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to do an online picture. And let's see if I can find a good one here once this thing loads up for me. So I'll go search for, I'm going to type in map. See what I get back with that. Alright, cool. There we go. There's a world map for me. So I'll go ahead and select that. I'm going to insert that in. Let's drop that bad boy in there. Alright. Now this image, I'm anticipating that, you know what, it would probably look better if I were able to take that portrait page once again and change it to landscape and then increase the size of that image so I can fit more of that landscape orientation. Alright, let's try this out. So I'm going to get back to my first page. Remember I inserted a section break there. Maybe I want that to be portrait. That looks good. This one though, I want to change this one. I want to make this landscape. So I'll click into this page. This is page 2. I'm going to go back to page layout. I'll change the orientation to landscape. There we go. Look at that. First page portrait, second page landscape. Same document. Same document. I've just changed it. Let's see if I keep going. Oh, now it's just continue. Oh, I got another section break in there. So I've got the second and third page in landscape mode, but then I've got this one here in portrait mode. So I could grab this one and I can increase the size of the image now, get that to fill up more of that landscape page. Nice, that's looking good. Very cool. So I'm adding in the breaks, but not just any old page break. It's a section next page break, just like we were talking about columns earlier. But now I'm able to manipulate the orientation and have both portrait and landscape in the same document. Okay? What I see, actually, people that aren't aware of this feature, I'll get them bringing in documents which are actually in landscape and portrait, but it's two separate Word documents. Then they just print them out and kind of collate them together after they've been printed. Two different documents, right? Well, but with section breaks, you can do it all within one document, manipulate all your layout per section. Pretty slick. Try this out. Bring in some sections. Actually, even before you do the sections, just try toggling the button for orientation. Manipulate it. Go from portrait to landscape. And then get a bit more advanced with it. Create more dynamic, fluid, or structure to the layout of your document by changing the orientation within different sections. Try it out.